Right, folks, I'm joined now on the line all the way from Denmark, Mr. Martin J. Anderson, a gentleman I've been a fan of for probably about 3 or 4 years now with the various projects he's been in. Welcome to Rockposer's Roulette.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No, it's my pleasure, Martin. Obviously, we chat a fair bit, and it has to be said that I'm a huge, huge fan of the music you produce. For those people who are maybe not familiar with the stuff that you've done, I guess we might as well start with Blindstone, because that's the band that I first heard you playing in.
Yes.
I probably first heard Blindstone, I think it might have been on a compilation album, probably about 3 years ago. It might have been a Grooveyard Records compilation, something like that. And so I thought, I really like this. And obviously after that, I've gone and bought all 5 albums that you guys have produced. What got you into blues rock initially? Because obviously you've done other types of rock music, which we will touch on later.
Well, the blues rock is really where I started many years ago. That's sort of what started me playing music. The music of Jimi Hendrix and Cream, Stevie Ray Vaughan, people like that. That's really, well, Jimi Hendrix was the first one, and hearing his music made me pick up the guitar in the first place. So it's sort of been with me all along. That's where I began. And then later on, I got into other types of music, with heavy metal, and I was in the bands that played pop rock and alternative music and all kinds of stuff. And then Blindstone was the result, actually, of another band folding that I was in with Jesper, the bass player.
Okay.
And Benjamin, the first drummer in Blindstone. And that was like a melodic pop rock band. It was actually quite successful here in the local area. But what happened was that the singer and the keyboard player, they were invited to join another band. And so that band sort of disbanded, ended with that. And then I figured I'd been spending many years on, being in bands, chasing the big record deal, chasing, the success. And actually found myself compromising a whole lot musically, trying to second guess what other people wanted to hear. So I got pretty far away from my starting point, the center, the music that I really enjoyed and that got me playing in the first place. So I thought maybe now was the time to get back to that. So Blindstone was a conscious and is a conscious effort to really play the type of music that we want to play and not really think about what other people might like to hear.
Well, I guess it's always a bit of a fine line, because obviously you want to make money from the music that you record and produce, but as you just so rightly said, you're almost cheating on your own beliefs and convictions by doing so.
Well, it can end up like that, definitely, and that's kind of what happened with me was that I sort of got caught up in chasing, the money or the success or whatever you want to call it, and I got away from the blues rock, which is really my first love, and my comfort zone, really. And so I just wanted to get back to that and try and take it as far as I could. And we never with all the bands I were in, we never got that elusive record deal or anything. But the thing with Blindstone was that 6 months after basically founding Blindstone, we had a record deal. And so...
well, obviously you're with Grooveyard Records. Now, again...
well, actually, not initially.
Oh, right. Okay.
We were on a small label at first. The first album, Manifesto, was released on a label called Karma Music. We later reissued that album on Grooveyard Records. But the first one was initially released only in Denmark.
Right. Well, I've obviously got the reissue on Grooveyard Records. It's got to be said, just going off a tangent, for those of you out there who've never checked out Grooveyard Records, do check them out, because the stuff that I have on there, obviously apart from Blindstone, it is guitar rock orientated in every sense of the word. I must admit, I have spent a considerable amount of money on their website, because the stuff is absolutely superb. The first Blindstone album I actually bought would have been Freedom's Calling, which, I mean, it's got my favourite Blindstone track out of all of them on there, without a shadow of a doubt, which is Freedom's Calling itself, but the Slight Return version at all 15 minutes long. That is absolutely I play that probably once a week, I reckon.
Well, thank you. Actually, it's kind of a lot of people perceive that track to be 15 minutes long, and
well, obviously you've got the dead space in the middle of it, which threw me the first time I ever heard it.
Yeah. Well, the last part after I guess 35 seconds of silence is actually supposed to be a hidden bonus track, but it's sort of come to be perceived as being a part of the last official track, if you will.
Oh, right.
And, well, I'm perfectly okay with that, but they were not written like that or recorded like that. They were not supposed to go together in that sense. But it actually kind of works. And I think it
works brilliantly. I really do. I just think that space is almost like a bit of a breather before you hit the second part.
Yes, exactly. Yes, and I see that there are people who have uploaded videos of it on YouTube, and they put the two tracks together and call it Freedom's Calling, Slight Return Part 1 and Part 2. Someone also uploaded one video of both tracks put together, and he actually removed the space between them. But that's okay. It's perfectly fine with me. I mean, that's kind of a funny little story. It wasn't meant to be like that, but that's how it turned out. It
does explain an awful lot, it has to be said. Going on to the Rise Above album, of course you've got a guest appearance by Ty from King's X, who of course mastered the album for you guys as well.
Yes.
What got you hooked up with him?
Well, it was actually a bad accident that caused it to the contact to be established. Yeah, the thing is, the album was supposed to have been mastered by someone else. But what happened was he had to go to the hospital, and they diagnosed him with an aneurysm in his head. Waiting to happen. So he had to go into surgery immediately or really quickly. So he couldn't do the work. So that was Joe from Grooveyard Records, and he had to find someone else to do the mastering.
Right.
And then I guess he knew beforehand, but he thought of Ty Tabor. He has this online mastering business where you can send the files to him and he will master it. and upload it, and you got a finished master from that. So that's what happened really. He thought of Ty Tabor and asked him to do it. And of course, Ty Tabor being Ty Tabor and us being, really big King's X fans, we had to ask him if he would be interested in playing with us on the track. And fortunately, he was. He played a magnificent solo on the title track, Rise Above. Incredible solo. I had actually done my own solo. It was ready to go. Everything was ready to go. But we figured the most fitting track for Ty Tabor would be the Rise Above track. So I just removed my own solo from there, and we had him play on it in his studio. And I think the result is totally amazing. Really beautiful guitar solo.
It is. It's got to be said. I mean, it's difficult for me because I'm so biased, being such a fan of the band. I mean, I just enjoy everything. So a change of direction now, if we can, to obviously the newest project that you're involved with, one which I wrote the review on the website for, which of course is Meridian with their brand new album Metallurgy, which I absolutely love. And obviously it's not blues rock at all. It's
not at all, no.
Much further down the hard rock heavy metal side of things, but without the sort of the growly shouty bit. It's it's far better than that. I think it's very melodic for the genre. It has a lot of melody to it, and obviously, Lars, the singer, sings with a really very clean voice. Yes.
And that sort of sets it apart a little bit from a lot of the heavy metal out there, which are, like you said, really shouted or growly vocals. Stuff. There's a little bit of that, but it's mostly the clean melodic delivery that he...
That's the problem with a lot of albums. I mean, musically they could be superb, great musicianship and what have you, and then only for the vocalist they absolutely ruin it. I mean, I can think, without naming any names, I can think probably 3 or 4 albums straight away, which just put me off hearing the vocal style. I'm thinking, if only you'd actually thought about the vocals. Are you actually hearing the same thing that I'm hearing, or is it just me who doesn't particularly like this vocalist and the fact that he's really hitting some bum notes down the line? Did you actually play this back? You recorded it? Yeah. Hey, but how you know me? I'm always a man in a canoe who speaks his mind. So
yeah. I think.
Sorry, go on.
Sorry.
No, go ahead, Mike.
No.
I was say, what's been the response and the feedback from the Meridian album so far?
Well, the response has been very positive, very positive. I mean, the copy of the album you've received, it was really like a promotion copy, and we were getting ready to shop the album around to see if we could, get a label to put it out. And we actually succeeded, and we will be releasing the album properly, if you will, on a Danish label called Mighty Music in December this year. That's when the album is coming out, and we actually got other offers as well from Germany, but we went with the Danish label.
I mean, that's got to be pretty encouraging, hasn't it? The fact that you've had more than one label were interested in the album. Yeah.
Well, to us, it sort of indicates that this that the songs have something about them that people like. The fact that more than one label would be interested, but it's always it's a strange feeling when you sort of stuff that you worked on for a long time, and they worked for a long time on that album, and I just joined recently, joined the band recently, and only played some solos on the album, but but they worked at it for like actually that album has been recorded 3 times.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, but until they were satisfied. So this was the 3rd attempt, and but when you work on something like that for so long, it's a very an anxious feeling of letting other people hear it. if you understand what I mean.
Absolutely.
It's like I'm trying to think of some comparison.
Well, one comparison I would certainly put in is that Lars, the vocalist, I believe I wrote in my review, going back through my memory, reminded me very much of the Sargent Fury vocalist, the now unfortunately deceased Andrew McDermott, a vocalist I really, really liked, and I found a lot of similarities. That's probably what really hooked me on the album, apart from, if we're going back to the vocal part of it.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with Andrew McDermott or his work, so I wouldn't know if he was an influence on Lars. Actually, I don't think so. But it's just turned out to be the way that Lars sings, and I think it really works for the music, and sort of sets it apart a little.
Going forward from this now, what direction do you find yourself going in? Are you working anything on new with Blindstone, or are you going to try a different approach for another project, or?
Well, actually, I'm moving in multiple directions.
Right. Okay.
or I'm about to move in multiple directions. I have obviously we have the Meridian album coming out in December, so we're sort of in the finishing stage about approving artwork and stuff like that for that. And at the same time, we're supposed to be releasing a Blindstone live album sometime early next year. I think maybe in March we'll be releasing a Blindstone album, and I'm sort of gearing up to start working on that. Picking the tracks for it. I have 2 shows to pick from. And obviously, Grooveyard Records will want to have a say in that as well.
I was going to say, because it's going to be pretty difficult picking the tracks.
Usually we agree pretty fast, but we'll see. I'm optimistic. I think we'll decide on it pretty quick, and. So that's one project that I'll be working on. Another project is, to coincide with the release of the Blindstone live disc, I'm actually going to be releasing a solo album, an instrumental album, also on Grooveyard Records at the same time. And I'm sort of gathering material for that at the moment. Writing material for that, so that's going to be Grooveyard Records is guitar oriented to begin with, but this is going to be really guitar oriented and instrumental album. So
I was going to say, if it's like, I mean, if people want to hear the sort of output Grooveyard Records do, the easiest way is they actually have their own online radio station as such, which plays tracks from all the various artists that they have on. Well worth going to check out. I will put a link over on the page later on today, and do go and check it out, folks. I'll tell you, I mean, I've played a few of the artists on the show apart from the likes of Blindstone, etc., and it is worth checking out because it's a label that really supports proper guitar rock music. There's no messing about, there's no fillers or anything like that.
No.
They certainly pick the right artist. I would say would be probably the correct summation of that.
Yeah. Well, Joe Romagnola, who owns Grooveyard Records, is really he's a giant guitar fan, and I'm sure he has the largest collection in the world of obscure, rare guitar discs and videos and what have you. His archives, like I suppose he's using a black hole for an archive, or something. I mean, what he doesn't know about that's just incredible. He's introduced me to so much great music that I never heard about ever, and he'll just dig in. Oh, I'll send you a copy of this or that, and it's just really, really, his knowledge is outstanding.
Oh, it is. I mean,
and,
obscure stuff.
Yeah.
Gungan Power Trio, and that's one I discovered through Grooveyard Records. Who thought there would be a Filipino blues rock band?
Yeah, well, actually, I believe they're from Indonesia.
Oh, Indonesia. Sorry, my apologies.
But you wouldn't really think of an Indonesian power trio, but they're there, and they are an amazing band.
Absolutely.
Great band.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of their stuff as well. But as I say, as I just said previously, I have spent a lot of money on Grooveyard Records.
Yeah. Actually,
Joe's doing very well off the back of me, I can tell you.
Yeah. But I mean, if you're a fan of guitar-oriented, blues-oriented rock, the Grooveyard Records website is a veritable gold mine, I'd say. I mean, there's so much great stuff. I'm not talking about us because I'm actually not sure we belong in there, because there's so many great guitar players, many great bands, and it's really, really amazing. Great label and a great concept, I think, because it's really uncompromising. There's no chasing hit singles or going for 3-minute songs or anything like that. It's really serving the blues oriented guitar on a silver platter, and I like that.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm honored to be working with Grooveyard Records, because that's really, I mean, if you look at the artists whom they work with or they have worked with, it's an astounding list of first-rate players and music.
Well, I mean, not to put you really shouldn't underrate yourself. I mean, there's been
I tend to. I'm sorry.
Well, which is unusual probably for a guitarist, I would say.
I don't know. Maybe it could be.
I mean, I would say there have been comments somewhat in reviews, etc., about yourself and your playing, and just saying, probably you are one of the big undiscovered in inverted brackets guitarists, certainly to come out of Europe.
Thank you. I take that as a compliment. Yes, I have read comments and I've heard stuff, and it's a bit difficult to take in, to be honest with you, because there are so many guitar players that I look up to and respect, and I used to read the magazines about those guys, and it's I'm having a hard time, accepting that people would just consider me to be at a level like that. It's a little difficult to talk about, because
no, I totally understand. I'm the same myself. Yeah, it's it just amazes me every week that people even bother to listen into this grumpy old critical British person who presents this show.
You're doing a great job.
For some goddamn awful reason, whether it's to keep their children awake or shut the dogs up, yeah. I don't know, but they do.
Yeah. Well, of course, I'm incredibly flattered by the remarks and the comments that have been made, and people write me on Facebook and pay me all kinds of nice compliments, and it's really flattering, and I'm really happy that anybody would like you know, my music and the music I'm involved in making, but it can be a bit overwhelming. I'd say overwhelming because I don't consider myself to be, you know, that good, or my music to be that incredible. If you understand.
Well, maybe it's time, Martin, that you start believing that, because I, you know, as everybody knows, I don't heap praise on people, you know, just on a whim. I am a huge fan of Blindstone, a huge fan of the Meridian album, and obviously a fan of the other stuff that you sent me. Here's to the future, Martin. So already anticipating the live Blindstone album, because well, you know, I'll be buying it anyway. So. And your solo album, so at least you've got 2 sales anyway.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's great. That's nice, and thank you for the support, Dan. I really appreciate it.
At any time. I appreciate you coming on the show, Martin. Thanks ever so much for taking the time out to talk to me today. And
well, the pleasure is all mine, definitely.
And here's to the future.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Many thanks indeed.
Take care.
Thanks now. Okay. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.